Graham, you know we haven't actually filmed an intro for this episode.
No, bollocks.
Morning, welcome to the last day in Ireland.
We're in Killarney at the moment, which is down in the southwest. We're heading straight up to the very centre of Ireland for a pretty epic activity to see whether this MX-5 we're driving is as capable as the world says it is.
We have grey skies, however, that's not going to dampen our spirits, and I have a little surprise, Graham, for our last day in Ireland.
Love it. All right. Wait, I'll get the camera. What is your surprise?
I have dressed in...
How many clothes do you have to take off?
But it's cold.
It is cold.
This
look at this!
Celebration top.
Irish rugby!
Nope, not Irish rugby. This is my Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio top. See the 3-leaf clover?
It has.
Or shamrocks, as some might say. Yeah, I don't actually know why Alfa Romeo have shamrocks on their high-performance cars.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an Irish link, actually. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Graham, the narrator, the all-knowledgeable person after he's done hours and hours of research, what is the answer?
He will know, he will know. Right, so I was going to go to a voiceover and answer Richard's question, but I've had a cool idea. It's a different way to tell this story. I just need a couple of things. So the story of the Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio badge began back in the 1920s and is about a gentleman called Ugo Sorocci, an Italian race car driver. In 1920, Mr. Sorocci was hired to drive for the Alfa Romeo factory race team alongside the likes of Giuseppe Campari, Antonio Ascari and an ambitious young driver called Enzo Ferrari. And even surrounded by these thoroughbred racer teammates, Ugo Sorocci was quick. However, despite picking up multiple second and third place finishes, the win always seemed to elude him. You see, he just wasn't very lucky. He'd have breakdowns, he would lose wheels, he'd be winning the race only to be shunted out by a competitor. After a few years of disappointment, Ugo Sorocci was feeling well and truly neglected by that tricky mistress, Lady Luck. So he decided he was going to do something about it. He wanted to get her on board once and for all. He grabbed a paintbrush and a couple of cans of paint and took to the front of his car, painting on first a white diamond and then, letting his superstitions guide his hand, adding on a green, lucky 4-leaf clover to each side of his car's nose. After putting down his paintbrush, on that very same day in fact, Ugo entered the Targa Florio, a 270-mile long, grueling endurance race. And he won it. The Quadrifoglio Verde, or 4-leaf clover, had done its job. And it continued to do so, as Sorocci painted it on every race car he drove thereafter. Well, apart from one race car, and this is where the Quadrifoglio really becomes a significant part of Alfa Romeo's brand and its heritage. Later that year, after his fortunes had turned around, Ugo Sorocci was entered as the hot contender at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. He took to the track in a brand new, unpainted Alfa Romeo. He hadn't yet drawn on his now famous badges as it was only a practice session, and went out practicing and testing his brand new Alfa Romeo P1. He crashed and died at the scene, aged 38 years old. It's this tragic accident that really sealed the 4-leaf clover as a part of Alfa Romeo's heritage. After Ugo Sorocci's passing, Every Alfa racing car was adorned with the green clover in tribute to the fallen driver, and possibly in superstitious respect for the luck the symbol seems to bring to its bearer. Right, back to the road.
This is good, let's go.
It's raining quite hard.
It is. Alright, do you want to drive or shall I drive?
I'll drive.
Cool.
Oh no, wet seat.
Oh, it's grim. Last day footwell vibes. Right, let's go.
So we pressed on. Having already covered many miles that morning, we continued to head northeast towards the centre of Ireland, where our primary activity for the day was waiting for us. It was a long and uneventful drive. However, as we drew closer to our destination, the risk of what was to come began to dawn on me.
So we're 2 minutes away from the big MX-5 test. Are you excited?
I am, yeah.
I'm nervous. I'm really nervous about this.
Maybe that's because you own this car.
It might be. That's what I'm nervous about. I'm nervous this may break the car. I hope that's not foreshadowing. Right.
I think he's a strong boy.
We'll find out.
We'll find out, yeah.
I was concerned about the well-being of my car for good reason. We were off to a spot in Ireland responsible for more car carnage than almost any other. Down an unassuming country road, through a towering galvanised fence, awaits a place where novices of a certain motorsport come to grind their teeth and often damage their cars. It's this, the Goldstone Drift Track. It's hardly Interlagos or Yas Marina, but it's a place where cars can be pushed to their limits, and a place we're hoping to answer a specific and long considered MX-5 Miata question.
And the question we're here to answer is, can you drift an almost totally stock Mazda MX-5 Mark 1? This car's got almost everything it came out of the factory with almost 30 years ago. So it's got a bang stock 1.6 litre engine, it's got a viscous limited slip differential still got the power steering, still got the boosted brakes, still got the little brake pads on it. In fact, the only things that have changed on this car are the wheels, as we've seen already, and for those with a keen eye will have noticed, it sits a little lower than a stock car. The lowering springs, however, they still have a completely stock feel to them. They're not stiffened up at all, so it drives exactly like a stock Mazda MX-5 Mark 1. Who's going to drive?
Rock, paper, scissors?
Right, read in your mind. Okay, ready? One, two, three. I'm actually gutted. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
I'm glad about that because I don't want to break your car.
This is alarming. This is at the side of the track. Bits of bumpy there, bits of light there. I mean, this is all just tyre.
Rubber and tyre, yeah. On these big tractor tyres, there's a lot of scuffs and carnage.
And we've got to get this car all the way back to Dublin, so...
Well, back to Leicester.
Back to England, back to Leicester, absolutely. So, yeah, let's keep this car in one piece. Rich?
Yes.
I don't know how to drift.
Neither do I.
Excellent. So just going to go for it.
No, hold on. I have a tutorial. With the powers of the internet.
An internet tutorial. We'll see.
I need a 30-second lesson on how to drift.
Yeah, this is the film where they drift on the Taug roads.
Toge roads, Graham. I think you've been told that before.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Taug.
You're gonna get some comments.
It's Toge!
The time for jokes and procrastination was over. I was ready to get on track. However, just as I'd finished setting up the cameras, I realised I'd forgotten to do an important piece of prep to get the MX-5 drift ready. Okay, so I'm an idiot, and now I've got to quickly own up to something. The handbrake in this car is super loose. It can hold the weight of the car when parked on an incline, but it's certainly not capable of locking the rear wheels when the car is moving. so there's no way it's going to be of any use for losing traction on the way into corners. And since I'm a total drift noob, I'm not going to be able to go for any high-speed Scandinavian flicks or other overly complex drifting techniques either. Instead, I'm looking to kick the clutch mid-corner and then have a bit of tail-happy fun time on the exit. Now, I acknowledge this makes what I'm attempting technically power sliding rather than drifting. However, I do think it will still be able to give us a really good indication as to whether this car can be a solid platform for those who are considering a stock Mazda MX-5 as an affordable, reliable and realistic introduction into the world of drifting. Right, with that explanation out of the way, let's do this. Cue awesome drifting montage. Nope. Understeer. Nope. Oh.
This is going horribly badly.
Okay, I am literally just driving around in circles.
Oh, this is YouTube gold here. This is bringing in the subscribers. If you like that drift, subscribe now. Oh, well look who it is, the Drift King.
This is going really, 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 really badly.
Well, yes it is.
You're supposed to say no, it looks awesome.
It doesn't look awesome yet, but I'm confident that with a lot more practice, you'll get there, you'll get there.
All right, well, I'll keep practicing then.
Yeah, get back out there.
All right.
So I did. Concentrating my efforts on one corner, I tried again and again and again. And the MX-5 didn't skip a beat, allowing me to continue to hash together some form of a technique. And slowly, little by little, the rear end of the car began to slip, and I started to have fun.
Oh my goodness me. I think progress has been made at least a little bit, but I need a 5-minute break now. Flipping heck, I feel sweaty and grim.
Okay, that was session 1. You got some pretty good drifts.
Oh, I can smell the tyres a bit. Oh, that's hard work.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, physically hard work.
Yeah, I'm sweating. I feel like I'm sweating under here. I'm boiling. I know I'm wearing a lot of layers, but really hard work. I mean, it's a lot of concentration. It feels like you have to be so precise as well. Oh, flipping it is so scary. I'm so scared for the car.
You've got loads of space between you and the tyre wall. You just commit a bit more, I reckon.
It's really, I mean, when you see it on TV, they make it look like ballet, but crikey, I think you've got to have the mental capacity of a chess player or something like that to really do it well. Honestly, I don't know the car seems fine, but I need 5 minutes.
But I wasn't going to get my 5-minute break. Ireland was offering this drift novice an opportunity that couldn't be refused. Rain.
Graham, I know you said you were going to take 5 minutes, but I don't reckon this rain's going to last. You probably should get back out there and make the most of the wet weather.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just wanted to get some film. Right, yeah. All right, helmet back on. Let's do this.
I think the rain's already stopping. The track barely looks damp. Right, I've just got to wring the car's neck and go for it. Use this opportunity before it dries out. I decided that for the next 5 minutes, I was no longer sat in my cherished Mazda MX-5 or in our transport back to England.
but instead I was operating my single-purpose drift car, and it was time to start driving it as such. Okay, full commitment, here we go. Corner, revs up, clutch up.
Woo! Yes.
Okay, cue awesome drifting montage. Oh, little overzealous. Woohoo! Oh.
Good effort there.
Oh! I am definitely failing my next MOT on tyres. Oh no. Okay. You best leave it there. So, can you drift a stock Mazda MX-5? Well, I couldn't, but if you take the time to prep your car for the task in hand and put in a hell of a lot of practice, I dare say you could. And perhaps a stock MX-5 would be the perfect way of giving yourself an affordable introduction into the incredible art of drifting. I imagine as you progress with drifting your MX-5, you may find yourself wanting for a few suspension and engine modifications to help further your abilities. However, if you're considering the sport and want something reliable, multi-purpose and affordable to get you underway, I believe there's no reason you can't drive your standard MX-5 in comfort to the track, drift until your heart is content or your tyres are spent, and then head home again, reveling in just how much fun you've had, and taking the scenic route of course, because, well, you're in a Mazda MX-5 Miata.
Flipping heck. Right, I mean, I'm glad you're driving, but I love this car so much.
Yeah, I don't want to put a curse on it, but you've been ragging this car and it hasn't missed a beat. I have a new level of respect for it.
Flipping heck, yeah. Like, we ragged it for ages. We went to that place and we were like, oh, you know, we'll get the shots and then get out of there because we didn't want to risk the car sort of thing. But it's just, it never felt like that. So it just absolutely went for it.
Been bulletproof.
Yeah, it has. I mean, we had that tiny little issue with the air conditioning, which is purely just because we never used like the air conditioner. I haven't used it in 2 years or something like that, because why do you need aircon when you have the roof down all the time? But oh my goodness me, this car is truly trustworthy. Right.
Respect Mazda.
Respect Mazda.
We were giddy with praise for our little car. So as we travelled towards the final stop of our trip, we decided that it would be a good time to pull over and share a few of our favourite little design features on the Mazda MX-5 Miata NA.
So we've recently finished our drift session and I had an absolute blast. And despite ragging the car for far more laps than we had originally intended to, our MX-5 is still running as smooth as butter. It makes you realise that when it comes to things such as the reliability and the fun factor of it all, Mazda got the big things very much right when making the MX-5 Miata NA. However, we've come to realise they got a lot of the little things right as well. So we've put together a list of a few of our favourite little design features on the Mazda MX-5 Miata NA. Right, the first one is one of mine and it's in the cabin. So let's say you're wanting to give your Mazda MX-5 Miata a wash, and specifically you're wanting to give the headlamps a bit of a scrubbing. Well, the first port of call would be just to give them a turn on and then up pop the headlights. However, when that happens, all of a sudden you've got hundreds of lumens blaring into your retina. So Mazda thought of this, and they've given you this button here, which I like to call the poser button.
You press it, headlights pop up, and most importantly, if you come around to the front, there we go. No long-lasting eye damage from trying to scrub away at them. So, to me at least, this is a very multi-purpose button. Not only is it good for cleaning the car, also it's my, let people know that they can come past car if they're coming the opposite way and there's something blocking. And also, most importantly, it's my fellow MX-5 recognition button, which is when I just go, oh look, they're almost falling behind. Okay.
Don't do it.
Don't break the car. We've still got to get back. Right. Number 2, Rich. I think you're taking this one.
I am.
Okay, feature 2.
Okay, feature 2 is the interior door handles. I'll come around this way. Here one is, in its beautiful black plasticiness. Nothing particularly special about it in itself. It looks particularly plasticky, in fact, with the nice tan leather v-spec interior of this car. So why are we saying this is a cool feature? Well, it's because it shares this identical part with a very, very cool car, which is the Aston Martin DB7. So if you go into an Aston Martin DB7, you'll see this very same door handle, plastic and all.
It is cool, that. Bit of automotive royalty shared.
Indeed.
I'm talking about, obviously the MX-5 is the royalty. Yeah. Right, number 3 is from me, and it's an MX-5 exclusive part, this, and it's the very, very clever sun visors. Now, on most regular coupe cars, sun visors are designed to be stored flush against the roof of the car. However, as the Mazda MX-5 Miata is a roadster, and importantly a roadster that was very much designed to be driven with the roof down, if you had the sun visors, they're still being stored at this horizontal jutting out position, well, it would look all manner of unsightly. So what they figured was you could get sun visors that fold in half, and they could easily then tuck away in this short space available for them to be stored. It's just clever and neat, and it makes a big difference to the cabin, in my opinion. And as if by magic, look who's in the car!
It's me. Point number 4 is the headrest, or rather the headrest speakers. Not every MX-5 Miata got headrest speakers, depending on what edition you purchased or if you got an upgrade package. But the dual headrest speakers are really good, particularly when you've got the roof down, and then you can have your music playing just a few inches away from your ears, and the music comes out crisp and clear, and also you don't have to have your music blasting to be able to hear it. Now, obviously the cars are a little bit old now, and like this car, the speakers actually stop working, but an upgrade and replacing them is very straightforward and certainly worthwhile doing.
Absolutely it is. Feature number 5 is lockable storage in the cabin. So we've got a lockable center console here, and we've got a lockable glove box. It's so damn obvious, I know, but having driven around Scotland in a Vauxhall VX220 which didn't have this feature, we've come to appreciate just how great it is to be able to turn up at a cafe and lock away your boot release and things like that, and therefore not have to worry about either risking your contents being stolen and leaving the roof down, or faffing about and putting the roof up. Admittedly, being that early 90s Mazda interior quality, anyone with more than mild strength could easily just pull open either the center console or especially the glove box, but what you're going to do, it is a lot better than nothing. Okay, so that's our 5, but I do have one little bonus feature I want to show you. It's Yunos Roadster v-spec specific, and it is super geeky, so bear with me. It's the driver and passenger footwell floor mats. Firstly, they're quite nice. They're quite luxurious and quite thick for, you know, what was such a low budget car. However, specifically, it's this badging here which I want to draw your attention to. And they say V-Special Roadster is a convertible lightweight sports Yunos, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. However, as we know, Yunos roughly translates to joy. And if we use that knowledge and fill in a few of the gaps left by the fact that this likely was a sentence chosen in Japanese and then hurriedly translated into English to make the car seem more exotic. We could imagine that this badge is meant to say the V-Special Roadster is a convertible, lightweight, sporty joy. Maybe.
Well, Graham, your geekiness knows no bounds.
Thank you, that is a compliment.
Well, I need a beer now.
That is quite all right, because our next stop is somewhere where they know a thing or two about making beer.
Ooh, cheeky segue into the last part.
Was that not what you were aiming for?
I just want a beer.
Yeah, you actually just want a beer. Well, that's good. Well, let's go. Right. Oh wait, I need my thing. I actually nearly forgot to put this back in the car. Okay. Let's go get you a beer. For the final stop of our trip, we were headed for the beating heart of Ireland. Its capital city, Dublin. Founded in the 9th century by Vikings, the Norse Kingdom of Dublin, as it was then called, has become a hub for authors, artists, architecture and tourism. And since we only had time to try one tourist activity in the big city, we decided to go for the most touristy thing 2 Dublin tourists could go for.
Pondering where to get a Guinness from.
It's the important thing to do, the most important thing to do.
There are 666 pubs in Dublin, and you'll be hard-pressed to walk any street without coming across at least one. Therefore, Dublin is to pubs what Netflix is to films. Unless you know exactly what you're after, you'll spend so much time browsing what's on offer, by the time you make a selection, you could have been halfway through your pint, or film. Eventually we found our way to a bar and ordered what we came for. But why? With all the beauty and culture in Dublin, did we choose to spend our little time in the city, sat in a dusty, dimly lit pub, clutching a glass of beer? What makes drinking a pint of Guinness in the heart of Dublin such a bucket list tourist activity? Every single day, 10 million glasses of Guinness are drank around the world. Why? Well, because it's damn delicious. But even if it wasn't, I dare say it would still be the world's most popular stout. Because here's my opinion, and I'm gonna keep my voice down for this one. I've had better beers than a Guinness. I've just never had a beer better sold to me than a Guinness. Let me explain. Guinness is a great beer, but it is sold through marketing genius. Here are my 4 favourite facts that prove Guinness to be the coolest and best marketed beer in the world. Trust me, even if you're not into beer, some of this will impress you. Fact number 1. Guinness invented the Guinness World Record. It all started when a chap called Hugh Beaver, who was the managing director of Guinness in 1954, was having a heated discussion with his mates about which is the fastest bird in Europe. It was in the midst of this argument when he suddenly realised groups of people just like him and his mates spend hours sat in pubs arguing over subjects just like this. Which bird is the world's fastest? What car is the world's smallest? And who is the world's strongest? He thought, what if in every pub there was a book full to the brim with superlatives that people could grab in order to settle these classic pub debates? Drinkers would be sure to reach for such a book. So what if this book bore the name Guinness in large letters on the front cover? Hopefully readers would feel inclined to enjoy a tasty Guinness drink whilst enjoying the Guinness book. And that's how the world famous Guinness Book of World Records came to be. It was a marketing move attempting to make pubgoers thirsty for a pint of the Irish Ruby beer. Fact number 2. Guinness made a full-length feature film. So we all know Ireland loves Guinness. But 40% of all the beer the company produce is actually consumed in African countries. And in an attempt to remain the stout of choice for those living in Africa, Guinness produced a full-length movie shot in 5 different African countries, in which the main character goes about dodging bullets, flying helicopters and seducing women, only ever stopping on occasion to quench his thirst with a delicious Guinness. Before we move on to fact 3, here's a little bit of bonus Guinness information that makes for excellent pub knowledge. Guinness pay just £45 per year to rent their enormous city centre Dublin brewery. In the company's early days, the founder of Guinness, a man called Arthur Guinness, was so confident that he was in the process of brewing greatness that in 1759 he signed a 9,000-year lease, agreeing to rent the 4-acre facility for just £45 per year. Who knows what the rent will go up to when the lease expires in the year 10,759. Fact number 3 is, according to the company, it takes 119.53 seconds to pour the perfect pint of Guinness. Why is this? Well, according to Guinness's master brewer, the process of pouring a pint of Guinness is divided into 6 stages, and it goes like this. Stage 1. Take a branded Guinness glass. Stage 2. Tilt the glass to a 45-degree angle under the Guinness tap. Stage 3. Turn the tap on, ensuring the stout makes contact with the glass towards the top. Using the famous Guinness harp as a target always helps. Fill the glass 3/4 of the way to the top. Stage 4. Place the Guinness on the bar and let it rest, allowing the customer to see the nitrogen bubbles fall and rise in the glass. Stage 5. Once the Guinness has settled, bring it back to the tap, hold the glass straight up and carefully top up the glass until the whiteness of the head just domes over the top of the glass. Stage 6. Look the customer in the eye whilst you present them the perfect pint of Guinness. All to be done in 119.53 seconds. No more, no less. Why? Because that way people talk about just how damn long it takes to pour a perfect pint of Guinness. And our final fact is that in 2009, Guinness successfully founded a new national holiday in Ireland in order to sell even more beer. They called it Arthur's Day, and the idea was that on the day of the holiday, which took place in September, at 1 minute to 6, or on a 24-hour clock, 1759, folks would raise a glass of Guinness in tribute to Arthur Guinness, the founder of the brewery. The celebrations were also accompanied by some high-profile musical acts too. The ironic aspect of this hallmark holiday is that it was such a success it ended up being a PR disaster, with Guinness being internationally condemned for the mess on the streets in cities and hospitals packed full of drunk celebrators. That all came as a result of them essentially selling too many Guinnesses on those occasions. As a result, the holiday was cancelled in 2014 after pressure from around the globe. Still, all the clever marketing tricks in the world wouldn't have mattered much if Guinness wasn't so damn lovely to drink too. So I say it's quite right to want to lift a Guinness in honour of the man who first made it.
So, considering we're in Dublin and it's 1 minute to 6 in the evening, I guess we can say to Arthur. Okay, now head up to the horizon and, oh wait, arm up. A drink. How's my moustache? Alright, you can drink your drink now. Right, we best crack on back to the car. So now we're putting off going to the car by doing the world's fastest tour of Dublin. And now we've abandoned our tour to go and eat Mexican-Irish food.
Where now? Pardon? Where now? Let's go to the Temple Bar and have a Guinness.
Okay, another one.
Another one for me. You're
For me,
driving.
I'm driving, so. There you go. Thanks very much, mate. Alright, let me know how it is.
Okay. So what's this? Alf, Mr. Guinness, or whatever his name is?
Oh, to Arthur.
Arthur.
Whistle stop visit to Dublin,
Yes.
but now we really are going back to the car. Getting into the MX-5 for the last time before.
Well, no, that's a total lie. You still own this car.
I hope so. You mean I don't have to give it away at the border?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. Right.
End of the trip happening here. We're on our way to the ferry port. Sad,
But a little bit happy.
but a little bit happy because it's gone well.
And it's quite tiring.
It's tiring. Yeah.
And we've worked this car very hard over this weekend. But I now think we have enough information, Graham, to answer that big Miata question we came to Ireland asking.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. All right, let's do it. Let's conclude this series. Miata is always the answer. We set out on this trip to see whether there was any truth behind that statement. And our Mazda MX-5 Miata proved itself worthy, time after time after time. Are you looking for a car that can comfortably undergo a dull motorway journey? The MX-5 Miata can do that. Are you looking for a car to enjoy through the sun, rain, and everything in between? The MX-5 Miata can do that. Are you looking for a car you can enjoy to the fullest without having to risk any points on your license? The MX-5 Miata can do that. Are you looking for a car that's beautiful, yet can step out of the spotlight when it suits? The MX-5 Miata can do that. Are you looking for a car in which you can have a blast in conditions other sports cars wouldn't dare to drive in? The MX-5 Miata can do that. Are you looking for a car you can learn new skills with? The MX-5 Miata can do that. Are you looking for a car that can do all of which I mentioned in one long weekend, whilst remaining utterly reliable and dependable? The Mazda MX-5 Miata can do that. So is Miata always the answer? Well, of course not. It's got 2 seats, a small boot, average fuel economy, a fairly uninspiring engine and rear-wheel drive. To those looking for practicality or extreme performance, it was never a consideration. However, if you're in the market for a small, fun, affordable and reliable sports car and the Miata isn't considered to be at least potentially the answer, just perhaps you're not asking the right questions. Thank you so much for watching Ireland in an MX-5. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you haven't seen the rest of the series, please do take a look, as if you enjoyed this video, you'll likely enjoy the others. Also, please do consider subscribing to my channel, as it would be great to have you along for my future projects. Take care, folks. Thanks again.